Hey guys, Angie to break down Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. I want to thank you for all your support so far. Nearly at 2,000 subs. I wanted to do this fight, but I haven't got round to it until now because I've been sick as a dog. But I'm just really wanted to cover this fight card for some reason. Some of the fights seem a bit lackluster at first glance, but some of these fighters are actually really interesting if you know a bit more about them. A lot of new fighters though. But without babbling too much, let's get into it. Yeah, I just think that the main event is kind of what carries this, and it's a little bit of a shame that it's at the Apex because we have had a lot of Apex fights. First fight of the main card, we have Rong Zhu, who's coming off his win in the lightweight tournament of Road to UFC. That was earlier in April against Chris Padilla. I don't really remember him. He's had one fight in the UFC, and he is on a winning streak by the looks of it. Rong Zhu is 24, but he's had a lot of fights. Chris is 28, hasn't had as many fights, and he's had one more loss. So Rong Zhu is favoured to win. The only criticism I have for any fighters of the Asian fighters that have won Road to UFC, the standard seems to be usually a little bit low for UFC entry. At least it has sort of been that way in the past. So sometimes these Asian fighters look really good in the tournament. They come to UFC and they don't perform. That is one thing that I've got in the back of my mind right now. So perhaps Rong Zhu is a little bit overhyped, but he's performed really well overall. So I think that he should probably be favoured, but maybe by not that much. Still, I'll go with Rong Zhu in this one just because he has performed well in the tournament. And I don't really know much about Chris. Although Chris has got 3 finishes. Rong Zhu, sub, unanimous decision, TKO. I'll just go with Rong Zhu here, maybe by decision. It'll be a step up in competition for him. Sorry if my voice sounds weird, it's just the cold I've had. Okay, Trevor Peek at minus 130 against Yanal Ajmov plus 110. I think Yanal, I can't say his last name. He is, I think, Iranian. Yeah, he's from Israel. He just had a fight against Chris Leroy Duncan, and that was a very close fight, though. And I think Chris was kind of expected to maybe have a bit more of a convincing win against Yanal Ashmals. So I think Yanal has fought pretty good, considering, he's from Israel, and you don't really expect much from people fighting out of places where they don't have many fighters. He's fighting against Trevor Peek. They're the same age. They've both got similar kind of records, 9-2 for Trevor Peek, 7-1 for Yanal. Trevor Peek is coming off a loss as well against Charlie Campbell. That was also a unanimous decision. He was from Contender Series, and he's come off 2 losses and 2 wins since getting in the UFC. So this seems like a very sort of pick 'em fight, in my opinion. Whoever wins, wins. They both got very similar records, similar wins and losses in a way. Although all of Trevor Peek's wins and losses have been unanimous decision, whereas Yanal's, he lost by unanimous decision, then he won by KO. So I would even pick Yanal in this one, even though I can't say his name. I'll go with Yanal by KO. Yeah, for the upset. Oh yeah, the lighting's a bit weird because it's nighttime and usually I record in day, but yeah. Okay, Matt Schnell at plus 400 against Cody Durden, minus 535. Although he's coming to fight on 1 week's notice. So it's interesting that the odds are so extreme in favour of Cody. Matt Schnell's not a bad fighter, but he has come off 2 KOs, one to Steve Erceg, which I guess probably hasn't aged so well considering now Steve's on 2 losses, with all respect. He got a KO by Mateusz Nicolau. I can't really remember how that fight was going. But before that, Matt Schnell got a sub over Sumudaji. Did I just write his last name? Because I don't think I wrote... Oh, it doesn't matter. Matt Schnell is 1 year older. This is another fight where I feel like the odds should be a lot more even. Just because you've been KO'd twice. Well, that is pretty bad, actually. But that was in March. Cody Durden, on the other hand, he's coming off a TKO to Bruno Gustavo da Silva and a sub to Tagar Ulabekov. And then a unanimous decision win against Jake Headley. So I think this is also a sort of pick 'em fight. I must be missing something though, because there must be a reason why the odds are so extreme. But I'm going to go with Matt Schnell for the upset just because his last win was a sub finish, and for Cody Durden, it was a unanimous decision. So that kind of gives me the feeling that there might be more urgency on Matt Schnell's side to get the win. Let's go with Matt Schnell for the upset. I don't know if I'll bet on it though, to be honest, because I honestly do think this fight and the last one should be more even. Steve Garcia, minus 185 against Kyle Nelson at plus 150 as the underdog. They got similar records. Steve Garcia is quite tall. Is his featherweight? Okay. Kyle Nelson is 1 inch shorter. Steve Garcia has the reach advantage. Both of these guys are on winning streaks, but on the Steve Garcia side, all of his last 4 fights have been wins. They're not really against people that stand out to me, except Chase Hooper, but Chase Hooper since then has done a lot better. He has a TKO over Chase Hooper. That's 4 fights ago. Kyle Nelson, he's got a lot of wins too. TKO'd Bill Algeo, and the fights before that were 2 unanimous decisions. So just because Steve Garcia has more finishes, I think that he should be favoured. And so I'm agreeing with the odds here, and I'll pick Steve Garcia by a TKO, because that is 3, TKO, KO, all of these last 4 wins. So yeah, that seems like a pretty safe pick. Okay, co-main event, Jessica Andrade at plus 240 against Natalia Silva at minus 290. So this is at flyweight, and just because of that alone, I would sort of agree with the odds to some extent. Maybe they shouldn't be that wide, but I feel like Andrade hasn't really performed at flyweight. I mean, she performed well against Chookagian, and maybe she won another fight at flyweight, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But generally, I think she's a little bit undersized at flyweight. Natalia Silva, on the other hand, she's coming off a 11-fight win streak at flyweight. I think they're mostly flyweight anyway. Her last 2 fights were unanimous decisions, though. She's not finishing people at a higher level, whereas Andrade has that ability to finish anyone at a higher level, I believe. Andrade has been super busy, although she has come off her 3-fight losing streak, which seemed to go on forever while it was happening. So since her loss, she has TKO'd Mackenzie Dern, and she just beat Marina Rodriguez via split decision in April at UFC 300. I actually thought Marina Rodriguez might have won that fight, so that was a close fight. But I think that was at strawweight too. So yeah, Jessica is 32, but she's a bit of a veteran. She's had a lot of wear and tear now. She's 26-12. I feel like she beats most people if she has the right preparation. But then again, this is flyweight. Natalia Silva is a bit younger in her career. She hasn't, fought for a belt or anything in UFC. But yeah, I just don't think she's faced the level of competition that Andrade has. So, we could get an upset, but Natalia Silva's been so consistent with 11-fight win streak. And I think Natalia has a lot of subs as well, but they're against lower competition as well. I kind of wonder if Jessica Andrade might get a sub for this fight. Don't ask me why. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Yeah, I'll go Jessica Andrade by sub just because I can. Woo! Gilbert Durinho Burns plus 150 versus Sean Brady at minus 185. I was really excited when I first saw the odds. I must have read them wrong because I thought that everyone was favoring Burns to win this fight. Maybe they opened that way. But I think last week when I checked it, it was in that way. And I'm thinking, that's a good bet to make. But it seems like everyone's catched on and they realize, yeah, this is a tough fight for Burns. He's 38. Even though Burns is amazing, 38, he's a little bit small for welterweight. And he's coming off 2 losses to bigger welterweights, stronger. And Gilbert Burns, has had a lot of wear and tear now and smaller. He seems to get a bit out-muscled by these guys. His technique is still there, but it's tough to hang with these young, hungry, massive welterweights. Gilbert Burns' last win was George Masvidal, and Masvidal is like 40 now. Not that he's fighting anymore, but before that he subbed Neil Magny. Yeah, so Gilbert, I still regard him as elite. I think that he's kind of coming out of his prime now. Well, he is, but I think it's not going to get any better from here. Sean Brady, on the other hand, he's interesting because I feel like he's been a little bit overhyped, and Bilal Muhammad kind of put a stop to that. I think the main thing for Brady is that he hasn't been fighting very often, so it's hard to, I guess, get behind him and really say, oh yeah, he's going to fight for the belt and all this stuff, because he hasn't really been consistent. I mean, he has been consistent, but he's been fighting once a year. He's had setbacks. He's had injuries, I think, and staph infections. So you can't blame him. But his wins are over Michael Chiesa, who is pretty much at the end of his career. He's also a smaller welterweight. Kelvin Gastelum, who he was actually bigger than Kelvin Gastelum, even though Kelvin Gastelum's fought a lot of his career at middleweight. These young guys, they're bigger. Having said that, though, Sean Brady may be getting a little bit too big, a bit old now, I guess, to make welterweight comfortably. So maybe that's why he's also been fighting not so often. So we've got an interesting scenario here that if Sean Brady does have, say, a bad weight cut, that could really affect his conditioning. And if Gilbert Burns is able to capitalize on that with his speed advantage, he could really cause some damage to Brady. I think that was part of the reason why Bilal Muhammad could take advantage of Sean Brady in their fight, because Sean Brady just seemed to gas out. I did think that Sean Brady looked really good against Kelvin Gastelum. I think that fight went on a while before he submitted him. So maybe his conditioning isn't all that bad, but that's just one thing I'm going to look out for. I'm going to see how the weight cut goes for Brady. If he looks bad on the scale, I might even throw some money on Burns, just because I think that that's how Gilbert will win. But having said that, I think this is Sean Brady's fight to win or lose. If he makes a mistake, a silly mistake in, say, the grappling or something, he'll get submitted. Or if he gets a bit complacent on the striking and gasses out, then he can get knocked out perhaps. But I really think it's up to him to just be disciplined and get Burns out of there. You know, Burns is coming off 2 losses and he might be a bit hungry to get a win. But yeah, he's 38 and he's been around the traps. So yeah, I'm picking Sean Brady here to win by a decision, actually, because I don't think he'll submit Gilbert and I don't think he'll knock him out. Yeah, that's all from me today. Thanks for all the support and coming by. And I might start doing some live streams maybe this weekend. I might do some of the main card or the main card. No expectations though, because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, if you feel like coming by or just checking it out, I'll let you know if I do it. I'll post something. But yeah, thanks for all the support. Nearly at 2,000 subs, and we'll see where we go from here. But enjoy the fights. Contender Series was amazing. Might start, if I do more of these videos, I might start even covering that. But to see that knockout from that girl, which I can't remember her name, was amazing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go now because my mind is spinning from this sickness. So anyway, see you around the traps and enjoy the fights. Bye.